We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, the Christian station, 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and now on knookmedium.com in the Richmond, Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area. Our guest by phone, a author of a great new book, Jim Lacy, Taxifornia, How Liberals Are Bankrupting California. Jim, let's start off talking about how people can get a copy of your book.
Sure, thank you. The best place to get it is at www.barnesandnoble.com. Barnes & Noble ships quickly. They've got plenty of books. Amazon has it as well, but Barnes & Noble is a quicker shipper. And I'm pleased to say that as of this morning, we were number 6 on the bestseller list there for the politics category. So we really didn't write Taxifornia thinking that it was going to become a bestseller. We wanted to get the word out, but people are accepting it, and we're getting real good feedback on it.
Yeah, which is great. And I noticed the foreword is by Congressman Darrell Issa.
Yes, Congressman Issa has just been tremendous on Fast and Furious and on holding the hearings on the IRS scandal, and I'm just delighted that that he would endorse the book by writing the foreword.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Jim Lacy. You're a native-born Californian.
Yeah, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, went to high school in San Jose, have all my education in California, public and private. Went to USC for my undergraduate degree and Pepperdine for law school. I had an opportunity right out of law school to work for a crusty old man named Howard Jarvis, who had this idea that property taxes could be lowered in the state if enough people would sign a petition. And that was just tremendous. I was a young man, and I really learned from Howard. In fact, my book is dedicated to Howard Jarvis. And I had the opportunity to go on and work in the Reagan administration as a lawyer, where I was general counsel of the Consumer Product Safety Commission. I worked in Washington for 10 years, but California is a place I love, and I found my bride in Washington, D.C., and brought her back to California. We got married in Monterey, and we live in Dana Point, California.
I know Dana Point well. Broke my ankle there at that basketball court there around the corner.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Know it very well.
Right.
And you went to my favorite school. I love SC. I've been an SC football fan forever and ever. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, so. But and I have a question for you about Pepperdine. Was Bruce Hershenson teaching there when you went to school there?
No, I went to the law school. I went to the undergraduate school. Bruce was not, but Bruce is a friend. And as a matter of fact, Bruce's publicist is very kindly volunteering to help me get this information out at Bruce's suggestion, because he feels that this is an important message. Bruce Hershenson's a terrific man. It's too bad we couldn't get him into the U.S. Senate in that tough race he had against Boxer, but he continues to write, and he just wrote a book called Obama's Globe last year, which we've been helping to circulate. Yeah,
we've had him on the show actually 3 times over the last 4 years. I like Bruce a lot. I actually worked on his campaign when he ran against Boxer. God, what is that? 20 years ago. Long time ago. So let's get back to your book, though. Our guest by phone is Jim Lacy, author of Taxifornia: How Liberals Are Bankrupting California.
If I can, my book is oriented towards economics of the state, but I do talk about the crazy things that liberals do in our state, and we know that our state has its characters. But one of the things that I have felt very strongly about, and I wanted to put in the book, was this passive discrimination against religious symbols. And I tell the story of the girl young woman who was up in Northern California at one of the state colleges in the Humboldt area, I think Humboldt State, who was a sophomore, and she volunteered to help with the freshman orientation. And when she showed up to go to the table to help with the freshman orientation, she was wearing a very small gold cross around her neck. I don't know if you've heard this story.
No.
Well, it's absolute fact. She wore this cross, and as the orientation began, her boss, who worked in the chancellor's office, came up to her and told her to take the cross off. And the girl said, well, why? And this representative of the California State University system said, well, we don't want to offend any of the incoming freshmen or give them the wrong idea about our school. Can you believe that?
That doesn't surprise me a bit. I wrote a book 20 years ago called Downfall, Secularization of a Christian Nation, and I did a chapter on that. I mean, to the point where you're looking at cemeteries that have crosses on them, that they want to have the crosses out of a cemetery. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's symptomatic of the way that liberals think. I mean, when liberals see something that they don't like, like foie gras, for example, they just ban it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think about personal responsibility. They don't think about letting the market regulate itself. And what's terrible is that when it comes down to religion, to think that someone couldn't do something at a state school as passive as wearing a small cross around your neck really speaks volumes for the problems that we have in California. There's tacit understandings among these liberals that are absolutely out of sync with normal, rational reasoning. And it's just a small part of my book, but I wanted to mention it because I think that it also goes to the larger question of being able to have a free society. It was this activity happened at Sonoma State University, and the chancellor ended up apologizing for the incident. But what happened was that the young woman, because of the political correctness they were trying to shove down her throat, actually left the school.
Oh, geez.
We need to be a more open society in accepting, and it's really something because these liberal Democrats are very closed and biased. They're not what they preach to be.
No, definitely not. Jim, just again, talking about your book, where can people get the book again?
BarnesandNoble.com ships very quickly. All you have to do is go to www.barnesandnoble.com, and in the search engine type in Taxifornia. The book will come up. It's about, I think it's about $23. It's a little bit of a discount from if you order it in the store. And there's also an ebook version on there for $10.
Mm-hmm. Is it on Books on Tape yet?
It is not on Books on Tape yet, or paperback. Those are things we'll be looking at the back end.
Okay, good, because I'm a big Books on Tape reader.
Oh, sure.
As much driving as I do, it just makes it simpler.
Sure.
For me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've got about 2 minutes left. What's the solution here? I mean, people are looking at this and they're not changing. They're not voting in a way that would change this. What's the solution here?
I'm not optimistic for California's future. I read a book by Arthur Schlesinger called The Cycles of American History, and you've heard of the pendulum theory that in politics, that when the Democrats are in office for too long, the pendulum will swing over to the other side and the Republicans will be in, and then the pendulum will swing back. It goes back between liberal and conservative. Some people have called it going back and forth between public interest and private interest. Well, in California today, we've got these public employee unions that have spent $500 million on politics since the year 2000, 5 times more than the Chamber of Commerce has spent. And they have invested so much money in these elected officials that they've pushed that pendulum so far to the left that it's stuck. And I don't believe in this generation that we're going to have a chance for it to swing back to represent the private interest and have more political balance in our state unless something very significant happens, and that's going to have to be some sort of a catalytic event like bankruptcies or the public employee union pensions completely exploding or people just waking up.
Yeah.
So I'm not optimistic, but I do have 2 or 3 pages of lists of potential solutions. Schwarzenegger, in my opinion, failed as a governor, but he did lay some groundwork that could be implemented, like the California Performance Review. We've got to make government smaller. We've got to reduce taxes. These politicians need to be focused on creating jobs. We've got to open up energy production.
Yeah.
We've got to let the Silicon Valley entrepreneurs do their thing. And that's the path. The path is a private enterprise, free market, reducing taxes, reducing spending to spur growth.
The book, again, is Taxifornia, How Liberals Are Bankrupting California. Jim, we'd love to have you back another time.
Love to, Marty. Thank you so much.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on